Hey there, February 2023, another month, another market update. I'm going to do this market update just like I always do. I want to give you the ground level perspective about what's happening in this market. So, just showed up to this hopefully new listing that we're about to take over right now. And what I'm getting from a lot of buyers and sellers out there is, hey, is this the right time to buy? Is this the right time to sell? So I'm going to give you kind of a perspective of the market in its entirety from the ground level, the street level, so we can help make better choices, understand exactly what we're getting into and what we need to do to navigate that landscape to get you the best results that you're looking for, right? That's what we are here for as realtors. So I'm not going to lie, it's been really weird the last 2 months. Usually there's a big dump of properties at the beginning of the year that kind of boosts that inventory. So buyers and sellers sellers are motivated because buyers are out there, they're hungry. They've been waiting for this time. You usually see a big dump of properties. I can't say that I have felt that big drop of properties happen this year. But when you look at the data, it's suggesting that we do have way more inventory that we've had in the last probably 3 years out there right now. But from a buyer's perspective, as I'm out there with them, it doesn't feel like the inventory is all that great and the actual options are kind of limited, right? So this time last year, we were dealing with 0.8 months of inventory. Right now, we're dealing with 2.7 months. This is 3 times the amount of inventory that we were dealing with last year, but things aren't moving like they used to. So we need to go back and we need to look at those rates and kind of get an idea of what buyers are really actually experiencing out there in this market and why they're not making moves, right? So we're talking about affordability of homes and all that kind of good stuff. So yes, we are dealing with a market that is being intentionally corrected. So home prices do come down a little bit. What I'm seeing is that home prices are not necessarily coming down, but the competition for these houses is not as steep as it was last year. So honestly, in my opinion, if you're going into a normal house that is, like a 3-2, $500,000, close enough into the city where you have transportation and some amenities and that good stuff, we're still seeing those houses move as long as they're dialed in and ready to go and people don't have to put a ton of money into them. And what we're seeing here is like last year, those places were going $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 over asking. Currently, they're going about 10 to 15 over asking, if not at asking. So that is why this is better for buyers right now to get into the market, so they can take advantage of not having that crazy competition that we've had last year. So people are like, hey, I'm just going to wait for the prices to come down. That's not exactly how this works. So, if this is sustained for years, then yeah, the prices are going to come down. But the interest rates are still going to be high, and there you go. Your monthly is just about the same, right? And you've waited years, you're paying rent or whatever you're doing. You're not in the place that you want to be over this long period of time. So how do we make this move now? For buyers, understand that when you're going into this, that you have a couple different options. And so the number one option that people have been using recently is the buy down. So you're taking seller proceeds and you're knocking down the interest the first, second, third year of you being in that loan, so that it matches like a 4% rate and not a 6.5% or 7% rate that we're at right now. It's fantastic. Refi when you have the opportunity to bring that interest rate back down to a level that was something that was a little bit closer than we had a couple years ago or last year and years before. But, hey, it's, at 6% historically, it's not horrible. I think that we're probably going to level off in the fives. Hopefully that's my hope, but I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's probably going to be the middle of next year. So if you're looking to do anything the next year, know that you have options. Take advantage of not being in the crazy competitive market and use those options in front of you to get into a house now, because now is better than later. I'm going to tell you that right now. And that's usually the case for real estate. There are sayings out there and they sound super salesy, but it is true. It's like, when's the right time to buy? Now, because as real estate, as an investment, it usually gradually just keeps going up. You don't see a huge crash. And when you do see a crash, that means you probably lost your job and you can't buy a house. So keep all that stuff in mind. And now as a seller, this is a weird market, and we're kind of navigating this all together, and we're trying to figure it out. What we're seeing is that there's not been a ton of boxes open this last week compared to this time last year this week, if that makes any sense to you. So the week of February 5th, 2022 versus that last week in 2023, there were 1,000 fewer lock boxes open. And so what that means to me is that there's not a ton of buyers out there actively looking. They're waiting for this inventory to drop because a lot of these houses out there, we're at 2.7%, but a lot of the houses out there are not desirable. And so if you have a good house and it's pretty much dialed and ready to go, then I mean, I would suggest that you get into the market and you meet this lack of inventory, usable inventory that's out there right now, and you find yourself a buyer. Now, there's a couple ways you need to approach this because buyers in their head are like, hey, this house is still too expensive. So go ahead, in my opinion, and advertise your house of rates that, you know, were similar to, that are going to get to like a 4 to 5%. So we're going to do a buy down, advertise that buy down, that you're going to get a great rate here at this house. We all know that it's not going to be as competitive. And hopefully that starts kind of fueling the fire for buyers to get back out here. Because this is what I'm realizing. Sellers are waiting for the buyers to get into this market and get that indication that, hey, there's enough buyers out there for it to get enough attention that they're going to get the prices they want. Buyers are waiting for sellers to start listing homes that they actually want to buy. So it's kind of a standoff between buyers and sellers waiting on each other to make a move. So to prime this thing up and actually get it going, start your marketing correctly. Know exactly what you're doing at this week, at this level of the game, in order to get these buyers to pick up the phone, call their agents, and get to the house to get it shown. So there's always a strategy out there. We work with our lenders. We understand exactly, you know, where the rates are at, what you need to do for buy downs as far as how much you need to put into it. You can generally expect to do about $10,000 to $15,000, depending on the price of the home, to buy down that interest for 2 to 3 years. And then you have a great path forward. So as always, here we are navigating this market week to week, ground level. Those are my suggestions. Get out there. Let's take advantage of, you know, what are the positive things for buyers, not the competition. And the positive thing for sellers is that there's not a ton of actual usable inventory out there. So there are going to be a lot of people that want to look at your house, get in there. And if it's dialed properly, then you're going to have a good asset. And you're probably going to see some competition that you might have, you know, not expected. So I've been seeing a lot of sellers that have taken my advice and done these things and are getting the results that they intended for. So I hope this is helpful. It is a weird time. If you want to just call me up and have a direct conversation about it, I'm here for it. I'm all about it. I love to do this stuff. I'm about to take a spin around this house right now, make my list. I can tell you right now that I will suggest that they change out the lighting, the fixtures in here, and that they paint that kitchen to make it lighter, brighter, and more consistent with the rest of the house. You know, they have some furniture that doesn't work quite everywhere, so I'll probably suggest some staging as well. So anyway, those are just some little things that I'm going to be doing with this one. You'll probably see it coming up here in the next couple weeks, next month and a half. We'll see exactly what they want to do, and you'll see exactly what we've done with this house to get it ready for the market. So feel free to give us a buzz. I'd love to chit-chat with you about it. Anytime. Just pick up the phone, give me a call. Have a great February.